Ah, it seems you've stumbled your way into this special place. Welcome, I am the Hermit, and this is the Heartland Library. Here, we strive to inform you of relevant, competitively focused content for the Yu-Gi-Oh! Trading card game. Today, our topic is one which many Yu-Gi-Oh! Duelists tend to overlook: problem-solving card text. And for good reason. It's one of the most formal, demanding aspects of an exceedingly complex trading card game. From this point on, I will refer to PSCT as new card text, as it's easier to say repetitively and less confusing considering this game's expanding library of acronyms. So, what makes new card text so difficult to learn and understand? What even is new card text? New card text, according to its introductory article, has three major goals. 1. Precision of text. 2. Easily readable text. And 3. Simple, plain language. Unlike old cards, which varied or lacked text to differentiate or denote costs, effects, targets, etc., new card text aims to consolidate keywords and phrases into an easily understandable, consistent format. Like a code interpreter, the process of reading new card text follows a set of instructions, which in my opinion doesn't help the average player because they're obvious steps, but that's just me. 1. Read the card. 2. Apply logic to figure out the answer. 3. Continue playing. Clearly, this method for deciphering new card text is abysmal because it doesn't explain anything more, nor does it give an optimal method for applying new card text syntax. Instead, let's use a more precise, objective algorithm to find out how cards work. In order to understand how each updated card works, we'll use three simple key terms: conditions, activation, resolution. Every single card using new card text follows this basic structure. Some cards won't have cost, and spells and traps that only do one thing upon resolution, such as creature swap, won't have any new card text punctuation. Let's see what these key terms are. First, conditions tell you the requirements of an activation and when and how often said card or effect can be activated or used. We'll use the color green to highlight condition text from now on. Next, we have activations, which refer to any text occurring after the colon but before the semicolon. This denotes anything that's done when you choose to activate a card and before either player can respond with a card or effect. In this window of activation, if applicable, costs are paid and targets are chosen. Please note, however, that targeting is never a cost, as the two are intrinsically separate, but that deserves an explanation at a later time. Finally, the last aspect of new card text is resolution, which denotes what cards do when a chain is resolving. As per the rules, once a card is resolving, there are no cards or effects that can be activated until the chain has fully resolved. Here are a few tips when you activate a card or effect. 1. Make sure the situation conditions are followed correctly, such as once per turn versus quick effect. 2. Follow and perform costs and appropriate targets. Then, 3. Follow proper chain rules as per the Yu-Gi-Oh! Official rulebook. On screen is an example of a chain which incorporates everything we've learned so far. Player 1 declares she's activating the effect of Brotherhood of the Fire Fist Dragon, sending Fire Formation Tenki and Fire Formation Tensu to the graveyard as cost, then targets her Fire Fist Bear in the graveyard. Player 2 then declares he's activating a DD Crow, discarding it to the graveyard as cost, and targeting Player 1's Fire Fist Bear. In response, Player 1 chains a copy of her Called by the Grave, targeting Player 2's DD Crow. At this point, Player 2 doesn't have any responses. Player 1 doesn't either, so the flowchart for resolving a chain proceeds. Hopefully that example demonstrated the applications of card text. An essential concept to understand is that all cards using new card text will show if they activate, and therefore start a chain, through the use of colons and semicolons. Be aware that the initial activations of spells and traps will always start a chain. If a card or effect doesn't have a colon, and I cannot stress this enough, it does not activate. Let me show you some examples of monsters whose text which includes effects and procedures, do or don't activate. Here we have a chart showing which monster text activates and which don't. The ones that do are any Burning Abyss Malabranca, Tenyi Spirit Vishuddha, and Nibiru the Primal Being. The ones whose effects don't activate include Cyber Dragon, Blackluster Soldier, Envoy of the Beginning, Gameciel the Sea Turtle Kaiju, the Winged Dragon of Ra Sphere Mode, and Lava Golem. Something to note among the monsters whose effects activate in hand for the cards on this list is that they first must be revealed to the opponent. Then, if the opponent has no response, they are summoned during the resolution of a chain. However, if you activate your Vishuddha's effect in hand to summon itself, your opponent has the opportunity to chain Mind Crush, unlike in the case of, say, Cyber Dragon. Spells and traps, however, are different, as some only have a single-use effect. The initial activation of a spell or trap will always start a chain, as stated before, even if a colon isn't present or no real effect occurs, in the case of, say, Zodiac Barrage. Creature Swap, for example, has no condition, beyond it being a normal spell, and no cost. So, assuming neither player has a response to its activation, Creature Swap does everything at resolution. Let's take a look at a few kinds of cards and effects. Now, displayed on screen will be tips for finding new card text clues. 1. Costs are always paid at activation. Costs can include, but are not limited to, discarding, paying life points, tributing, shuffling, or banishing. However, some duelists tend to misspeak about destruction and costs. As of the time of this video, there are exactly 0 cards which denote destruction as a cost, as, so far, all destruction by card effects are always and exclusively effects. 2. Any activation condition only has to be met when you activate a card or effect. Conditions that are not met after activation will continue to resolve normally, unless a card requires it. Other cards, such as Naturia Beast, will need to remain face-up on the field or in their source location in order to resolve properly, which is also indicated on each card. This is also true for all face-up field spells, continuous spells, equip spells, continuous traps, and any card in the Pendulum Zone. In other words, they must remain face-up on the field to resolve properly. Here we have an example of Cosmic Cyclone versus Dragonic Diagram. A player activates the effective Dragonic Diagram, and the opponent chains Cosmic Cyclone, paying 1,000 life points, then targeting Dragonic Diagram. As per game rules, Diagram will not resolve properly, but it will not have been considered to be negated. In other words, MST doesn't negate. Diagram will not resolve with effect. This distinction matters, but that difference is for another time. Clauses and stipulations during resolution. For any card which displays target after the semicolon, the designated target must still be valid upon resolution. Unlike Night Beam, the card Galaxy Cyclone specifically reads it rather than that target. So even if the chosen target is chained or doesn't meet the initial activation target conditions, Galaxy Cyclone will still resolve properly. If a card with new card text doesn't include the word target, it does not target. Many Yu-Gi-Oh! Duelists often incorrectly label some effects as targeting or non-targeting. For example, Salamangreat Foxy's effect in the graveyard does not target a spell or trap to destroy after it is special summoned during its resolution. Once neither player chooses to respond with the card or effect, Foxy will special summon itself, then optionally destroy a face-up spell or trap. And finally, perhaps one of the most important parts of card effect text. For cards that read both or all at resolution, all available targets or choices must be valid. This is contrary to effects which state them, where targets or choices do not need to be available at resolution. One of the most common examples was in 2015 with the stipulation of Ritual Beast Ulti Canahawk. As seen on screen, its text tells the player to target 2 banished Ritual Beast cards, then shuffles them into the deck to add a Ritual Beast card.
But Hermit, don't both targets need to be shuffled into the deck to resolve Kanahawk's search?
No, in this case, only one of the targets needs to be shuffled into the deck to search for a card. One final comment regarding this stipulation. If both targets or choices are unavailable upon resolution, the card will resolve without effect. In Kanahawk's case, if 0 cards are shuffled back, 0 cards can be added from the deck to the hand. With everything in mind, this concludes Part 1 to Introduction to Problem-Solving Card Text. To review what was covered today, we learned what new card text is, what it's supposed to do, how to think about it, how to read it. We saw some differences between clauses and stipulations, and we even saw plenty of useful examples of real cards and interactions. Because it's such an incredibly complex subject, especially for Yu-Gi-Oh!, this comprehensive introduction to new card text requires an extension, as we've only scratched the surface. If you have any questions, please remember to leave a comment. If you enjoyed or found this video useful, feel free to leave a like, subscribe, and even share with your friends. Who knows, maybe they'll learn a thing or two. This is the Hermit. Thank you for watching.